The NBA is full of intense rivalries, heated battles, and emotional outbursts, but sometimes the real drama unfolds within a team's own huddle.
Oh, because he's just pushed the coach of the Chicago Bulls.
Whether it's frustration over a bad call, coaching decisions, or personal conflicts, some players have gone to war, not against their opponents, but against their own coaches. Here are some of the wildest moments when NBA stars clashed with the very people supposed to lead them. LeBron James versus Darvin Ham. In a game against the Denver Nuggets, LeBron James completely lost his cool after a controversial call.
James comes from behind and knocks it away. He's saying it was tough glass by Denver. Darvin Ham not going to challenge it, though. And LeBron really infuriated.
He was convinced the ball was last touched by Denver, but head coach Darvin Ham refused to challenge the decision. Furious, LeBron erupted, arguing aggressively while Ham stood firm. Though James managed to restrain himself, it was clear that his frustration had reached a boiling point. Marcus Morris versus Jeff Hornacek. LeBron might have kept his temper in check, but Marcus Morris didn't.
Well, Marcus Morris very unhappy and really having a hard time calming down him and Jeff Hornacek getting into it.
The confrontation escalated so quickly that teammates had to step in to calm Morris down. Giannis Antetokounmpo versus Bucks assistant coach. Even the usually composed Giannis Antetokounmpo couldn't hold back after a Bucks assistant coach said something that set him off.
That Giannis lost it. Heated confrontation on the bench with some of the Bucks and their coaching.
It was a full-blown confrontation, with teammates and staff stepping in to defuse the situation. Ron Artest versus Indiana Pacers security. For Ron Artest, later known as Meta World Peace, conflicts went beyond the coaching staff. It wasn't just the opposing team that had to brace for impact. It was his own squad as well. Greg Foster versus his own team. Former NBA coach Greg Foster lost control during a game, turning his own team into enemies. His fury was so intense that it led to a near brawl on the sidelines, shocking fans and players alike.
That's Greg Foster.
He's talking to one of the players. Feelings a little bit frayed on the edges.
Foster's outburst proved that even coaches can let emotions get the best of them. Chicago Bulls coach versus his own player. The Chicago Bulls have seen their fair share of internal conflicts, but one moment stood out.
Oh, because he's just pushed the coach of the Chicago Bulls.
But in this case, the emotions overran all sense of hierarchy. Eric Spoelstra versus Dwayne Wade. Even championship-winning teams have their breaking points. During a Miami Heat timeout, Dwayne Wade and head coach Eric Spoelstra got into a heated exchange.
Eric Spoelstra unhappy with all of that, obviously, and then this was the confrontation verbally in that final timeout, and we showed you a little bit of it. You see, Wade circles back. This was one timeout ago.
Though the argument didn't escalate further, it was clear that even the best teams can crack under pressure. John Collins versus Bulls assistant coach. Another Chicago Bulls incident saw John Collins reacting aggressively to an assistant coach who crossed the line. Instead of letting it go, Collins pushed back, literally. The situation spiraled fast.
Oh, just needs to walk away. Yeah, and now John Collins, oh my, back out. It escalated in a hurry.
Turning a simple disagreement into a near fight on the sidelines. Raging on Rondo versus Rick Carlisle. And during his time with the Dallas Mavericks, he clashed with head coach Rick Carlisle in spectacular fashion.
At one particular game, I'm in my mind, I'm manipulating the game. So I know Dirk had a couple buckets on one side of the floor, so I try to flip the play to the other side. And that's where Rick was like, "What the are you doing?" I'm like, "My man, this is Kevin Garnett. Okay, you go two players on one side of the floor, let's go opposite side. We're gonna get an easier bucket for Dirk." And he starts stomping and shit like that on the floor, and I'm, as a man, it's like, bro, you're disrespectful, my man. I'm a champion at the same time. I give you a lot of respect. I came here and say shit.
Carlisle didn't appreciate Rondo altering plays, and when he angrily confronted the point guard, Rondo wasn't about to back down.
Just telling him, sit your you-know-what down.
In reality, it was a cover-up for the irreparable damage between the coach and his player.
So what happened in Dallas that season that year, I had a call with Donnie L. Nelson, Rick Carlisle, Duff, and they're like, Rick doesn't want to coach you anymore. So we're going to say your back is hurting and you're done playing. I said, okay, well, fuck it. And I shot to Miami.
Kobe's silent but deadly stare. In the 2012-13 season, Mike Brown was supposed to lead Kobe Bryant and Dwight Howard to glory. But after a 0-3 start, the Mamba wasn't having it.
Boy, the look of Kobe, that's determination and disappointment, I think, all rolled into one.
That infamous death stare, it was all determination and disappointment rolled into one. Jeff Van Gundy. The Knicks versus Heat rivalry was already a war zone, but when Alonzo Mourning and Larry Johnson clashed, things got personal. Van Gundy? He wasn't backing down. The dude literally held on for dear life, grabbing Mourning's leg as chaos erupted.
Larry Johnson is one of them. Here we go. Oakley and Mourning have at each other.
Talk about commitment. He was in the trenches, literally. Austin Rivers versus Doc Rivers. It's one thing to have beef with your coach, but what if that coach is your own dad? That's exactly what happened when Doc Rivers lost it on a ref and Austin Rivers, his own son, called for a technical.
Look at the son saying, calling for a tee. Tee up, my dad. He's on the other team, and there it is.
He waved goodbye as Doc got ejected. Talk about family drama. Later, Austin explained, I knew it was coming. I've seen that look before.
I knew it was coming. I could see it. I've seen that look before many times. As he starts blinking his eyes fast, he starts that's when I know he's got to I just start telling Tony to get him. They got him.
I'm Udoka versus the King. Stepping up to your father is bold, but stepping up to LeBron James? That's just reckless.
The motion was made that he was gone, but that was Udoka. Udoka had an attempt earlier. Yeah, so this is his second.
A motion was made, and Udoka was history. Jimmy Butler versus Pat Riley. Miami's rivalry with the Celtics was already intense, but in the 2024 playoffs, it got personal. First, we rewind to 2023. Boston was down 0-3, and they hit fans with the legendary quote, "Don't let us get one." A year later, the roles reversed.
Don't let us get one.
With Butler sidelined, all he had was his mouth, and after a Miami win, he let the Celtics have it on Instagram. But after the Heat lost the series in 5, Pat Riley had enough.
For him to say that, I thought, is that Jimmy trolling or is that Jimmy serious? If you're not on the court playing against Boston or on the court playing against the New York Knicks, you should keep your mouth shut.
Safe to say, Pat wasn't amused. Jim Morant, the ultimate troll. Jim Morant doesn't just play the game. He plays mind games too. Against the Nets, Ja hit a halftime buzzer beater and made sure the Brooklyn bench felt it. But he wasn't done. Up by 20, he kept poking the bear, jawing at Coach Fernandez.
And Ja was talking in the direction of the Nets bench and Jordy Fernandez.
Even Dennis Schroeder got involved, igniting tensions. After the game, Ja admitted, I was just trolling to get them riled up. It worked.
For real, on my end, I was trolling just to get them riled up, and they did. I even told the coach that I was trolling, so he was good. He had to do. I don't know what was said on their end to have coach like that, but yeah, man. At the end, I just went to make sure coach was good.
J.R. Smith and the legendary soup incident. Damon Jones was known for being the jokester of the team, but one day, he messed with the wrong guy, J.R. Smith. While J.R. was getting his food, Jones tried to make him spill it. Big mistake. J.R. responded by throwing his soup right at him.
In the lunchroom, get my soup. He comes in, and mind you, the soup was hot. It literally, I'm like the first person in there. He's like, and trying to make me spill it. It wasn't like a rageful throw. It was like, okay, you're playing with me. I know you're playing with me. I'm going to show you. And I literally thought about it, and I threw it on him. He's over there screaming because it's hot. I'm like, see, you want to stop playing now with me, right? You want to stop playing? And sure enough, the next day he comes up, apologizes, hey, man, you're right. I do play too much. I'm like, bro, I don't mind you playing. But when I tell you stop playing with me, I'm not in the mood. Just stop playing.
It wasn't rage, it was a lesson, J.R. recalled. Isaiah Thomas, blood, sweat, and fury. The Bulls and Pistons had no love lost, and Isaiah Thomas was right in the middle of it. His coach begged him to keep his cool. Take it out on me, not the refs. But when Bill Cartwright hit him in the eye, Zeke saw red, literally.
You want to do, take it out on me, because I don't want you to get thrown out of this game.
And I said, I just like to choke.
Bloody but ready for war, he wanted a piece of Cartwright, and only Bill Laimbeer stopped him from escalating the fight.
In and out, rebound and a foul on Cartwright. He hit Isaiah in the eye, and Isaiah wants a piece of Cartwright, but Laimbeer plays peacemaker. Yeah, he got him a good one.
Jimmy Butler versus Eric Spoelstra. Jimmy Butler's fiery nature isn't news, but his 2022 clash with Coach Spo was next level. The Heat were struggling and tensions boiled over. Spoelstra snapped, Jimmy clapped back, and Udonis Haslem had to step in before it turned into a full-on brawl. Jerry Sloan versus Deron Williams. For 23 years, Jerry Sloan led the Utah Jazz with an iron will and a fiery passion that few could match. He was the kind of coach who wouldn't back down, even against legends like Dennis Rodman. But in 2011, his clash with star point guard Deron Williams brought his reign to an unexpected end.
Jerry Sloan now is letting Dennis Rodman know. If you want a piece of somebody, get me.
Williams, one of the league's top point guards at the time, was the face of the Jazz. However, his relationship with Sloan was like oil and water. Sloan's system demanded discipline, while Williams wanted the freedom to run the offense on his own terms. Ever since his rookie year, Williams had held a grudge against Sloan, feeling slighted over his playing time.
I think I held on to that rookie year, not starting and not, the way he kind of, he didn't really play me and would play me a couple minutes here, and then all of a sudden I play. I think I took that personally for a while, when I was younger, and kind of held that that grudge. And so I think that affected me a little bit, and I was definitely a little at times. I knew how Coach Sloan was, and I think I kind of poked the bear, just to see his reactions too. It was kind of like a little back and forth thing, and that I definitely wouldn't do now, or knowing what I know now.
That tension finally exploded during a game against the Chicago Bulls. Sloan called a play, but Williams ignored it, switching the play on the fly. The team scored, but Sloan was furious.
I switched one play because I saw something and I was like, let's just try it. I was like, let's run it the other way.
Literally the same play on the opposite side of the floor.
I just switched it to the opposite side of the floor. I think we scored and I didn't think nothing of it. And then we come in at halftime and first thing out of Coach Sloan's mouth is like, you want to coach this team?
It was a breaking point that forever altered the Utah Jazz franchise. Shaq versus Pat Riley. If you think coaching Shaquille O'Neal was easy, think again. The Big Diesel was a dominant force on the court, but had a rebellious streak that made him a nightmare for disciplined coaches, especially Pat Riley. When Shaq arrived in Miami, he brought his usual mix of dominance and humor, often at the expense of team rules.
I'm the first guy to convince Pat to break his ways. Because when we first got here, we were winning and playing well, but listen, we gonna stay out. Pat came to us one day, we gonna give you guys curfew, and if you break curfew, $1,000. I went in his office with a check for $41,000. 1,000 times 41 home games, I'm a grown man. That's just not gonna happen.
But Riley, a no-nonsense coach, wasn't having any of it.
And Riles don't ever come out on the practice court till like 5-10 minutes before the start. He out there 50 minutes before, man. And I already know, man. I'm like, oh, man. He pointed right at you, you can leave. Shaq was like, nah. And I was like, I'm me. I'm like, who am I? Like, I gotta go. That's Pat Riley. I gotta go. He told me to go. I'm finna get my ass up out of here. So I'm walking, muzzling on over there. It's that big old.
Riley may have won the battle, but he knew one thing. When it came to handling Shaq, even he had his limits. Coaches are supposed to lead, but when emotions run high, even they can get caught in the storm. From Spruill's career-changing explosion to Barnes' personal war, these moments prove that basketball isn't just a game. The drama is as real as it gets. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Drop a comment below and let us know. What's the craziest NBA beef you've ever seen? Stay tuned for more wild sports stories.